Alright, so in this little walkthrough, we're going to make a lion with horns and wings. It's going to be our some kind of critter for a habitat that requires horns and a lion to fly, so that's going to be what we're looking for. So I've already downloaded a horn, I've got a butterfly downloaded, and I've downloaded a lion. Okay, and I just got all of these from Thingiverse. And let's get this horn down to 0. Okay, so let's get going. Alright, so let's say first thing I want to do is I want to get my horn on top of the head of my lion here. So I can zoom in and out by either scrolling. If you're on the iPad or touchpad, you can use it just like a iPad touch. And I'm going to drag my little horn over here, and if you see this little black pyramid, that's going to allow us to go up and down. Okay, and when you are moving it with that little black arrow, notice there's a little number there. Mine says 43. It's going to tell you how high above 0 it is, and 0 is the plane. Alright, so I'm going to still put it right there for right now. And I'm going to shrink it. So if you hold down the shift key and grab one of these little corners, it will shrink the entire STL uniformly. And that means you won't get any warping that you might want. Alright, so I think that is about where I might want to place it, but I think I want to cut off this bottom part here, because I think I want to have it inside of its mane. So to edit this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a box, and notice the box aligns itself to a plane. So when you place it on there, notice it'll try to orient itself to where it's tangential to that plane. Okay, I'm just going to put it down here on the bottom here. Okay, and then I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to move it up. Let me zoom in on it. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty close. There I am. I'm over it. Notice where it changed the coloring of my horn. So what I want to do is I'm going to just delete part of my horn, maybe about that much. And what I can do is I can click the horn, click the box, and at the top right you'll see another toolbar, and if you see where it says group, you've got different kinds of bundle group. That just means they're going to stay together, so that's a new type of grouping. I'm going to click the one that says union group, and that's going to cut. So whenever you use one of these clear guys over here, clear, cube, cylinder, or sphere, that cuts out. If I use the bundle one, it just groups it together, just like you would in like PowerPoint or something like that. So let's move my lion back over here, and let's move my horn over here. And let's lower it down. Yeah, let's say something like about like that. Alright, and I think I want to twist it a little bit. So when you click it, you'll see these little arrows. That means you can spin things. Alright, so I think I might go with that. That looks pretty good to me. Now what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate it. You can also move things with the arrow key. So yeah, I think right about there. So I'm going to duplicate this horn, which is a Control D. And I'm just going to move it right across. Okay? And what I can do is I can mirror that image. So if I go up here and I choose mirror, and I'll pick which one I want. And notice it kind of gives you a little transparent vision of what it's going to look like. I want it to be exactly opposite. Now these guys aren't quite aligned the way I want. So what I'm going to do is click on both of them, and I've got my little align tool, and notice I've got these little dots. So when I click on a dot, they'll line right up. Okay, I can align them up in the center, right? All sorts of different ways that I want to. All right, so I think I'm going to move my little horn here just a little bit over. And if you want more precise control over your arrow movement, is down here in the bottom right where it says settings. You'll see it where it says 1 millimeter. You can change that to 0.1 millimeter. And notice there it's going to move with a little bit more precision. Okay, and so let's move this guy over. Yeah, so now I've got kind of an evil looking lion there. Alright, so now let's look at my butterfly. So my butterfly is kind of thick here in terms of height. So let's shrink them. So again, you can shrink things by clicking on it, and you can got these little arrows. And when I click the center arrow, it says 10. I think I'm going to make this 4. Alright, so now he's going to be a little thinner. Okay, and what I want is I want a left wing and a right wing, right, for both sides. So there's probably a couple of ways I can do this. So let's try the first way. So I am going to take my butterfly and I am just going to move it up. And what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to align it with the center of my lion. So I'm going to use my align tool again. Click on my lion because that's what I want to align it to. And I'm going to click, and there he is. Alright, and that's pretty good. So now if I'm going to lower him down. Alright, so now let's say I want to move my wings up a little bit. Yeah, so now I can have a lion with butterfly wings. Now if you wanted your butterfly wings at an angle, right, is what you can do is I am going to take this guy and I'm going to rotate him. And notice if you do the bottom one there, you get more rough rotations. So let's say I want this one at 25 degrees. Okay. And I am going to end up then cutting this other butterfly wing out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of my butterfly wing. I'm going to make this red. Okay. I'm going to duplicate that butterfly wing. Okay. I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to rotate it 22 degrees the other direction. Right? And I'm going to change this color of this guy. I'm going to make him green. Right? Because what I'm wanting to do is I just want to cut my wings out here. Okay. So let's cut the green one first. So I'm going to move this block, my cut block over. I'm just going to make it kind of big here. Oops, didn't mean to hit my wing. Let's move the block up. Okay, and if you accidentally move something, Control Z happily puts it back. It undoes it, or makes it undo. There we go. So let's really highlight all of that green, right? And it doesn't really matter if I'm gonna end up cutting some of the green inside the lion because it's now part of the model itself. So click on the box, click on the green one, go up here to group again, and it's cut out. So now I've got my green wing tilted. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with my other red wing. Make this a little bigger. Alright, let's see if I can grab that little red arrow without grabbing my red butterfly. Okay, make it a little taller. Let's make it go down a bit. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to make it go inward a little bit because I want to just make sure there's none of that red sticking out on the side of the lion there. Okay, and then make sure I've got my cut box selected. I'm going to hold down my shift key, click on the red one, and I'm going to go back up to group. And now I have a lion with horns. Alright, which is pretty cool. Alright, so now what your next step will be is, again, you can change these again. You can now rotate these you know, say I wanted it a little bit different. So let's say I wanted it to be another 10 tilted. You can change it by typing directly in 10. Right, maybe I wanted it a little bit more. So let's go that way. So I'm going to change this one also 10 more. Well, whoops. I need that one to be minus 10. Again, just Control Z to undo. There we go. Yeah, I think I like that. Okay. Alright. Alright, so I think I'm going to move these guys in just a little bit. Yeah, that works pretty well. Awesome. Alright, so now I've got my butterfly. And your next step here is you've got your lion with horns and a butterfly. Is we're going to export it so we can 3D print this guy. So I'm going to go to export. You can pick OBJ, STL, doesn't really matter. I'm going to go with STL. Alright, and notice you got a goofy name up here. This is so that when you save and work on different projects and you'll save it, you don't accidentally save things as the same file. So you can always change that. So you can say lion, butterfly, horns if you want it to. And then if you click export, okay, notice this is everything in the design. You could just select something if you only wanted the lion again. Export it. It's now in my downloads folder. So if I end up going to my downloads folder, let me find my downloads folder. Okay, there they are. So I'm going to click on my butterfly horns and it's going to open it up in the Microsoft viewer. And I'm going to just finish importing it so I can rotate around and things. There he is. Okay. So again, you can do this to any object. You can edit and cut any STL file that you have. So it's an easy way for having kids both to learn how to use TinkerCad, how to edit in TinkerCad, while doing like a habitat redesign. So now I have to figure out what habitat would this lion with horns and wings need to have. Right, so maybe all of his prey is flying around up in the air, so he had to evolve wings, and his horns are probably there for self-defense. Alright, so you have kids begin to think about what would be a habitat. And that is it.